Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Drew Davis, and I want to welcome you to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. Choice of words. It's funny when I think back to some of the different influences I've had coming up as a youth and how that's influenced my choice of words in my life. And as far back as I can remember, I listened to music that came on the radio. That was how I was exposed to music. And, you just get exposed to conversational styles, lingo, slang by the people you're around as you come up. Family, friends, etc., school, church, different environments, the public. And one thing I can recall that was kind of a unique moment in my childhood was when our family moved out to Arizona. I was about 9 years old at the time. And I didn't make a whole bunch of friends super fast at the new school. I was a little bit awkward coming out from back east North Carolina all the way out to the sandy desert of the southwest. And it's funny, I remember that, after a while you start to meet friends and get to hang out with just the kids that are around and go to your school. And without the ability to even pin it on a single individual, I remember getting introduced to different types of music that wasn't played on the radio, music that they said things that you definitely didn't hear on the radio. And some of those things were like, oh, wow, they were taboo. By this age, 9, 10 years old, I'd heard certain words before. Some words I was hearing I hadn't heard before. And, fair to say, you pick up on something enough with enough repetition and you start to regurgitate whatever it is you're hearing. And for me at a young age, I'll be one to admit that, I picked up on the ability to recite some of the things I was hearing that sounded taboo. It was almost like a mischievous thing. Some pretty crazy things you'd hear as a youth, hearing from adults with albums that had stickers on them that said explicit lyrics. And I still got memories present day to some of these great experiences of my youth having, getting into trouble listening to music that was probably a little advanced for my age, the content, subject matter, language, etc. And the point of the matter was that, we all grow up. It was a form of entertainment. To me, it did not dictate the outcome of my life, but we all pick up influences along the way. And when there are instances where choices of words that you hear used by others, if your inputs are of those that have a choice of words that might not be all good all the way around, you realize that plays into the word choice that you pick up. No big deal, right? We're all taught, right? We're taught to be well-mannered individuals, when to button it up, when there's time for bar language at the bar and classroom language in the classroom. But sometimes there's blurred lines, right? What about when you get out of school, when you get into a job or career environment, right? And you get into bar scenarios, how much does your choice of words actually matter? And I'll admit, I never thought it mattered much at all. As once you're chummy with somebody, if they're cussing up a storm and you're cussing up a storm, nobody's worried about it, right? Or if one person's cussing up a storm, it just assumes that it's open season for everybody there cussing up a storm. Not that that was the objective or intent, but sometimes choice of words can just be what is of the environment, right? What's of the environment. So if you're listening to music or inputs from people, it doesn't always have to be music. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are taking inputs of choices of words that tend to offend, for lack of a better terminology, it's something to be aware of. And I never realized how much of a difference that made until I started to get into, I guess the best way to state it would be into certain success circles, so to speak. High performers, high achievers, people who had done a lot of cool things, built businesses, made lots of money, had a lot of personal financial successes, health, happiness. It's not all about metrics like that, but people that are winning at life, at the game of life, right? High achievers. And recognizing that in more instances than not, there were a choice of words different from some of the ones that I remembered in the circles of friends, the bar language, etc. And you might even be in a bar environment and still a different choice of words. And there was a point that there was a mentor of mine that actually made a comment on the idea of what your choice of words can do, right? I mean, the first time I ever heard something like this, it was shared with me that the idea is you're not going to offend anyone with good language, good clean language, right? With foul, poor choice of words, foul language, bad language, cuss words, right? You may offend, you may not offend, but you don't really know until you've done it. And you might not always see it. Just because someone doesn't raise an eyebrow or act out doesn't mean you haven't made a mark. Put that little star by your name, so to speak. or just giving a feel for like, oh, okay, and I want to invite that guy over for dinner around the kids, because you don't offend people by using good, clean language. I've grown to believe that to be true. Once I heard it, I kind of thought like, well, does it really matter that much? If you just monitor it here and there, not everywhere, you be the judge. You make the decision. But the idea that your choice of words can alienate you is something that might be a foreign concept to some. And I only share it because, again, at 10 years old, I'm hearing, words from influences that, as a kid, you don't always know that they're bad influences. You're just introduced to things that are positioned as cool, or check this out, right? And it sounds like nothing you've heard before. They're saying, what? Oh my goodness, I've never heard anything like this. And especially if you know it's something you shouldn't be doing anyway, all the more reason to kind of lean in and listen harder. And some of the choices of words that you can pick up as far as your habits are really driven by your inputs. And being aware of that, it can go to potentially show you a little bit about maybe some of your own experiences in life. Is it possible that maybe your choice of words has been a factor in you missing out on a raise at some point in your career? Or by that certain someone not really taking interest to you because, but their choice of words, not really kind of abrasive, right? And this isn't something to say that just happens to everyone. And not everyone has a poor choice of words. I think it is safe to say we all have a responsibility to think about what we say before we say it. Just for the simple fact that while we may enjoy the freedom of speech, I think we have the responsibility that goes with that freedom to think about like what we're actually saying. Because I know from personal experience, you can sometimes be trying to express yourself and trying to grab the right words to use to make that form of expression, and quite possibly miss the mark. And so if you haven't controlled some of the emotion, some of that form of expression while you're reaching for those words, it's bad enough you're just trying to articulate an accurate thought, let alone have it be in a clean, pure thought that is one of, good, genuine intent. Hopefully something positive to share and make the world a better place. But again, choice of words being something that can often be overlooked, and in my experience that as I've looked to ascend in my personal growth path and the circles around me change, I've noticed a difference in the choice of words that people have, and a lot of the language of my childhood as I'm amongst the high achievers in adulthood is left to childhood, right? Kind of reminds you of the saying, kind of the youth growing into the adult, boy to the man, realize you're a man, and leave those childish ways behind. I did not quote that one accurately, but that's meant to be drawn from something real good. But here again, the idea that choice of words, something in my mind that's significant that I'd for so long not realized made a difference in the energy, the people that you attract, even the scenarios and situations that can be yours for the owning and manipulating to your desires, right? Like you can have a lot of things go your way. Maybe somebody gets your order wrong. You could still have that situation get fixed, but they're not going to comp the meal if you're just cussing the waiter out for messing up. And then your choice of words is so ridiculously abrasive that no one's looking to extend you any favors to make you happy, right? So just giving some thought to the maturity around the subject of just saying, hey, there's a great deal of vocabulary words to choose where we can express ourselves freely. How important or how necessary is it for us to choose those words that can potentially be offensive and really muddy the waters in what you're actually trying to convey, because the words have so much impact more often than not, more color and effect, that they can be distracting. They pour a lot of extra flavor, extra salt, extra seasoning on the words being delivered. And sometimes that additional emotion or passion isn't appropriate for the scenario. Choice of words, something to give some thought to. Thanks.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in to Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen.